The movie begins with two boys smoking, while another stands next to them. One of the boys asks the other what his name is, and he replies, Mosquito. The next morning, Mosquito is almost run over by a boy from his school, Monk. He goes to class, and afterward, as he is about to eat, a boy named Chen Han Dian takes his chicken and starts bullying him. However, Mosquito gets up, walks over to him, and snatches his lunch back. After school, Chen Han Dian and his friends are waiting for him outside. Mosquito runs away, but they catch up to him and beat him. He manages to escape. Meanwhile, members of the Qingshui Temple Front gang are watching this, and their leader, Dragon, is impressed. When Mosquito gets home, his mother, Ling Wan, notices his injuries. A man named Grey Wolf, who helps his mother financially, is also there. The next morning, as Mosquito goes to school, Dragon and the others wait for him and ask if he wants to be friends. Dragon then goes to Han Dian to warn him not to touch Mosquito again. Later, Dragon gathers the boys who beat Mosquito the previous day and asks him to hit them. After gathering enough strength, Mosquito beats all of them. That day, Mosquito skips class and jumps over the fence with the gang. From that moment on, he becomes a part of the gang and starts fighting alongside them. Dragon, the leader of the gang, comes from a gangster family. Another member, Monk, is the smartest of them all, having joined the gang later. Apo, the son of a butcher, is a skilled fighter. Then there's Monkey, whose grandfather raised him. He used to get bullied as a kid until he learned to stand up for himself. The gang fought many people, and the streets were often filled with mass brawls. Eventually, the five of them formed the Prince's gang. While they were all sitting together, Mosquito asked what they wanted in life. Monk said he wanted to join a gang and then asked Mosquito about his own dreams. Mosquito shared that he wanted to go to Japan. He mentioned that his father had sent him a postcard before he died, and ever since, he had always wanted to visit Japan to see the cherry blossoms. Later that night, Monk dropped Mosquito off at his house. When he went inside, Ling Wan was waiting for him. She angrily threw a letter at him, which had been sent by the school about his absences. She scolded him for hanging out with gangs, and he accused her of doing the same with Grey Wolf before storming off. The next day, it was Mosquito's birthday, so the gang took him shopping and bought him some clothes. They went out to celebrate at a club. While the others danced, Monk and Mosquito sat drinking. After they got drunk, they joined the others on the dance floor. Later, Mosquito went to buy food, and the others told him to say it was for the temple front so that he would get extra. When he said that, another man overheard him and went to notify his group. They chased after Mosquito, but he managed to run back to his friends, although he got hit by a car. Fortunately, he wasn't seriously hurt. Later, as they were sitting together, Monk explained that the temple front is their turf. In the past, other gangs used to rule the area, but now it belongs to them. As they walked through the market, everyone was friendly toward them. Dragon took the gang to his mother's restaurant. While they were eating, someone mentioned a riot in prison. Later, Monk's father told him that Wim Keon is getting out of prison. He is Doggy's nephew and Dogboy's father and might want revenge, so Monk might be in danger. In prison, Wim Keon heard that Doggy's fingers had been severed by Gata, which enraged him, causing him to break the phone. Later, the five friends went to pick up an escort, and Mosquito was shy. He met a woman named Ning and asked if she had gone to middle school with him, but she told him he must have confused her with someone else. He tried to start a conversation, but Ning wasn't very receptive. They sat together, listening to music. As he was leaving, she told him her name. The next day, Dragon had a fight with his girlfriend, Xiao Hui. She left crying, and Dogboy saw her and followed her. He told her that Dragon wanted to apologize and was waiting for her, then lured her to the back room of a boutique. There he threatened her with a knife and SA her. Dragon heard about the assault from Hui's friend. The princes caught Dogboy, tied him up, and tortured him severely. Monk tried to tell Dragon that it was enough, but Dragon refused to stop. Monk then decided to intervene himself and sealed Dogboy's eyes with glue. After that, Monk dropped Mosquito off at his place, but Mosquito went back to see Ning. He saw her coming out of a room with another man and became angry. He pulled her into a room where they talked again. He hugged her and asked if he could spend the night with her, and they ended up sleeping together. The next morning, Mosquito went to meet the princes and learned that Dogboy had died. When Geta heard about this, he punished the princes. Monk took the blame and said it was his fault, so Geta severely beat him. As Monk lay in bed recovering, his father and Masa, the leader of the back alley gang, came to visit. While Monk was resting, he overheard them talking about Gaeta. Many years ago, Gaeta had severed Monk's father's arm to seize power. Later, Monk got up and asked if what Masa said was true, but his father remained silent. Meanwhile, at Mosquito's house, he told his mother that he was going on a graduation trip and left. In reality, Gaeta sent the princes into the mountains, where they trained in martial arts and weapons combat. They trained fiercely for days and stayed there for a while. Mosquito began having nightmares about Dog Boy coming to attack the princes. One night, Apo complained about learning martial arts, arguing that they could just use guns now. But Gaeta came up from behind and hit him, saying that guns are evil. He then told them that they had completed their training. Later, they went out to celebrate by singing and drinking. Gaeta mentioned that everyone was there, including the Black Alley gang, and that he would have a drink with Masa later. Mosquito, thinking that Black Alley was their enemy, asked Monk about it. Monk explained that they were sworn brothers, just like them, and now each gang had its own territory. He also mentioned that someday he and Mosquito would have their own territory. As they talked, Gaeta and Dragon went on stage to sing. Mosquito got sick and went to the bathroom, where he overheard Gaeta and Masa talking. Masa told Gaeta that Wim Kian was out of prison and that Gaeta should apologize. Gaeta, however, listed Wim Kian's wrongdoings and mentioned Dog Boy's assault on a woman, saying that he hadn't done anything wrong. As they all sat down for a drink, Grey Wolf also joined them. Wim Kian thanked Gaeta for taking care of his household while he was in prison. Later, the princes were taking a hot bath when Mosquito told them that his mother was dating Grey Wolf. When they started teasing him, he got up and left. He then went to see Ning. There, he told her about his mother's relationship with Grey Wolf, explaining that Grey Wolf had disappeared suddenly and then showed up again a few years ago. Ning asked if Mosquito would disappear someday too, and he promised he wouldn't. The next day, Mosquito visited Gaeta and brought him food. As they were eating, Masa arrived, and Mosquito left. Masa told him Grey Wolf was interested in expanding into manga, but Gaeta turned down the offer. However, Masa insisted. They eventually all met to make a deal. Later, Grey Wolf met with Wim Kian, advising him to take down Temple Front due to their dominance over the district. After his conversation with Grey Wolf, Wim Kian approached Monk, convincing him of the inevitability of the Weishengren Triad's takeover. Monk asked if they could spare Dragon, and Wim Kian then proceeded to tell Monk about his time in prison. One night, while Masa was walking home drunk, someone approached him and shot him, killing him. The next day, a funeral was held, and Gaeta swore that he would find the murderer. Gaeta met with Wim Kian and his men to discuss possible suspects. Later that night, after sending his men to Black Alley, Gaeta was alone. Meanwhile, Mosquito went out to buy food. At that time, 4 men came to the temple and attacked Gaeta. He fought them off and managed to defeat them all. As Mosquito was returning to the temple, he heard a gunshot. Running toward the sound, he found Gaeta on the ground, covered in blood. Mosquito screamed for help, but it was too late. Gaeta was dead. Mosquito cried while holding his body. The next day, Monk went to get Dragon to take him to Gaeta's funeral. He found Dragon drunk on the ground and woke him up. Dragon, devastated by his father's death, was broken, and Monk comforted him. As Monk held Dragon, he had a flashback, revealing that it was he who had shot Gaeta. Monk began sobbing. The princes were playing basketball when Mosquito shouted at Dragon, telling him that if he didn't kill them now, they would kill him one day too. They argued, and Monk interrupted, saying, "How can we get revenge when we don't even know who they are?" He then started fighting with Mosquito, while the others tried to defuse the situation. Later, while they were eating, Monk convinced the rest of the princes to lay low in the Philippines, while he stayed behind, supposedly to conduct his own investigation. That night, Mosquito confided in Monkey about his suspicions regarding Wim Kian's involvement. One night, Monkey witnessed Wim Kian and Grey Wolf having a secret meeting, but was caught. They beat him severely, leaving him in a coma. Dragon began drinking heavily. Mosquito asked why all of this was happening, and Monk told him that Monkey had killed Masa to take over Black Alley on Gaeta's orders, which is why this happened to him. Mosquito then went to see Grey Wolf and asked him to look after his mother if anything happened to him. Instead, Grey Wolf convinced Mosquito to go to the Philippines for his mother's sake. Mosquito visited Ning one last time before leaving for the Philippines. He told her that he would come back to get her out of there. her, and they kissed. Later, Mosquito saw Monk meeting with Grey Wolf and Wim Keon while hiding. It was revealed that the plan to send the princes to the Philippines was an ambush to wipe them out. Mosquito went to say goodbye to his mother, telling her that he left some money for her. He then went to Gaeta's house and took his dagger before going to meet the princes. Grey Wolf, growing worried about his actions, decided to visit Mosquito's mother in Manga and learned that he had left. Through a postcard Grey Wolf had sent Ling Wan many years ago, he discovered that he was Mosquito's biological father and rushed to stop the plan. At Qingshui Temple, Mosquito confronted Monk, holding Gaeta's dagger to his throat and accusing him of betrayal. The others thought Mosquito had lost his mind. Monk denied the accusations. Their argument was overheard by a driver loyal to Wim Keon. Soon after, Wim Keon and his men arrived. In the ensuing fight, Monk attacked Wim Keon to save Dragon. Mosquito was severely injured but still chased after Monk as he ran away. He eventually caught up with him and they started fighting. However, Monk overpowered Mosquito and kept running. Meanwhile, Dragon, broken by the events, was drinking when he heard a sound. It was Monk, who had come to get a gun. Dragon hid, but Monk noticed Dragon's blood on the ground and found him. Monk told Dragon that everything he did was for him, then left. Mosquito, limping from his injuries, was walking down the street when Monk spotted him. Monk shot him in the stomach, causing Mosquito to fall and drop the dagger. Mosquito reached out for a hug, and Monk kneeled down to hug him. At that moment, Mosquito stabbed him. After stabbing Monk, Mosquito collapsed to the ground. At that moment, Dragon arrived and stabbed Monk from behind, continuing to stab him repeatedly until Monk collapsed. Dragon and Apo then dragged a delirious Mosquito away from the scene. Monk is still on the ground with blood all over him. The movie concludes with a flashback. The Prince gang skips school, and Monk extends his hand to help Mosquito climb over the school walls. Mosquito looks back one last time before joining them.